Good morning, I'm Trevor Alt.
And I'm Janae Norman. Here are the top 5 things to know this Thursday. Number 1, an investigation is underway after a private jet skidded off the runway at a small airport in Northern California. It burst into flames after the pilot aborted the takeoff. All 10 people on board escaped.
It's the same model of Cessna that crashed last week in Tennessee while carrying racing star Dale Earnhardt Jr. Number 2, President Trump's chaotic week continues. He is reigniting another controversy.
He says he wants to take a closer look at possibly ending birthright citizenship, a constitutional protection that guarantees children born on U.S. soil are American citizens. The president calling it, quote, ridiculous.
He has said in the past that he was considering an executive order to end it, so we'll have to stay tuned.
We head to Southern California for number 3. Authorities have been searching for a sniper who shot a sheriff's deputy walking to his car.
That deputy was leaving the sheriff's station in Lancaster, north of L.A., when he was shot in the chest. The sniper apparently fired from an apartment building overlooking the station near a mental health facility.
The deputy is okay thanks to his bulletproof vest, which deflected the bullet into his shoulder. The mayor says just before the shooting, the deputy was getting ready to take off his vest, which could have been a fatal decision.
At number 4, a legendary U.S. figure skating coach has been banned for life because of sexual abuse accusations.
A former student is suing Richard Callahan, claiming numerous sexual assaults. Adam Schmidt says the repeated abuse started when he was 14. Callahan has denied the accusations. And finally, number 5, what do Usher and Julia Roberts have in common?
Well, they are among the celebrities faked out by an Instagram hoax. A message that was making its way around the platform warned that a privacy policy change would make anything that anyone has ever posted public.
The head of Instagram squashed the hoax, saying the meme that claims Instagram is changing its privacy rules is not true. We've got so much more to talk about coming your way.
So much more.
So
it's
much.
Morning, America.
You got it. Okay, so that is the question of the day. What hoax, if any, have you been fooled by online in the past?
Right.
Any?
Yeah. I went to buy like a t-shirt when I was 20 from some obscure site. It was a Reading Rainbow t-shirt, I remember distinctly, because I love to read.
And what happened? Your money was gone and the shirt
No,
never came.
I plugged in the information and then they called my phone and were like, what's your credit card number and what's all that? And I was just like, yeah, I want a Reading Rainbow shirt so you can have all my credit card information.
Wow.
And then they bought hundreds of dollars of stuff from Best Buy and
Oh
Walmart.
my gosh!
Yeah, instead. And I never got the Reading Rainbow shirt.
You didn't even get the shirt?
No.
Okay, so that's his hoax. I have not fallen for any.
Any ever.
Not that I can think of, at
No?
least. So tell us about yours in the comments or tweet us at
The
ABC
privacy
News Live.
policy, copy-paste this thing, goes back to as long as social media has been around, and it's always been fake.
Seriously, since like AOL,
Yeah.
like forward this chain to 10 people or else.
Yeah, so if you pasted that thing on Instagram, tell us how you're liking the internet, because you obviously just got it. And so we'd love to get your feedback for your first couple days online.
That is hilarious.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my read now. I've done this like 4 times today. Let's get to the big story of the day. President Trump appearing to, I guess you could say, embrace the chaos that he's created around several important issues, from guns to taxes to our relationship with NATO ally Denmark. And this morning, ABC News has learned that all this chaos could prompt 2 Republicans to jump into the race for president, which is giving President Trump some unexpected competition in the GOP primary.
ABC's Serena Marshall has all the details from Washington. Serena, good morning.
Janae, Trevor, good morning to both of you. And amid all of those controversies, the president igniting another one, suggesting the end to birthright citizenship, even though that's a guarantee enshrined in the Constitution.
Mixed messages, confusion, and what some might call chaos at the White House. From further alienating our NATO ally Denmark. Upset, the country's prime minister rejected his idea to buy Greenland.
But I thought that the prime minister's statement that it was absurd, it was an absurd idea, it was nasty. I thought it was an inappropriate statement.
To again accusing American Jews of disloyalty.
Isn't that anti-Semitic?
No. It's only in your head. It's only anti-Semitic in your head.
Tuesday, major Jewish organizations like the Anti-Defamation League outraged after the president said a vote for a Democrat means
You're being very disloyal to Jewish people, and you're being very disloyal to Israel.
I will be exactly clear on what that was: anti-Semitism.
And now, reigniting another controversy.
Birthright citizenship, where you have a baby in our land, you walk over the border, have a baby. Congratulations, the baby's now a U.S. citizen. It's frankly ridiculous.
Suggesting an end to a constitutionally protected guarantee. Last October, he said he was considering using an executive order to do it. Now, two former GOP congressmen, former South Carolina Governor and Congressman Mark Sanford, and Illinois Congressman turned radio host Joe Walsh, are moving closer to mounting a long-shot primary bid against Trump. Though neither expects to win, they hope to offer the party an alternate vision for the future.
The president again also distanced himself from a background check and guns bill, saying that we already have very strong background checks and the legislation would be a slippery slope. Trevor, Janae.
Even for President Trump, this week has been a lot to keep track of. Serena Marshall in Washington. Thank you, Serena.
And the latest economic news undermines the administration's claim of a strong economy.
So this is from the Nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. It reports the federal deficit is going to reach $960 billion by September 30th. That's the end of this fiscal year. And it predicts the deficit will reach $1 trillion in 2020, which is 2 years faster than expected. And the office says the reasons are President Trump's tax cuts, the trade war with China, and an increase in federal spending.
And the government now says job growth wasn't as good earlier in the year as first reported. Employers added 500,000 jobs less than thought. Most of the revision came from industries most associated with consumer spending, so things like retail and travel. It's the biggest downward revision in 10 years.
Well, President Trump has eliminated student loan debt for all permanently disabled military veterans. It's expected to save 25,000 vets about $30,000. It also clears those eligible from having to pay any federal income tax on those loans. The president signed the order while attending an American Veterans Convention in Kentucky.
And in California, a cook is behind bars for allegedly threatening a mass shooting at a Long Beach hotel. Authorities say Rodolfo Montoya was upset about a work-related human resource issue. He then told a Marriott coworker he was going to shoot employees and hotel guests. Police say they found a stockpile of guns and hundreds of rounds of ammunition at his home. The CDC is reporting an increase in lung illnesses linked to vaping. More than 150 cases have now been reported in these 16 states from coast to coast. Many of them are teens and young adults. 17-year-old Tristan Zofield of Texas ended up in the hospital with a blockage in his lungs. He had to be placed in a medically induced coma, and that's when his parents found out he'd been vaping since 8th grade.
I woke up just throwing up everywhere, and my heart was just pounding out of my chest, going 100 miles an hour.
You don't want your child to have to go through what we went through to get to the point that he came to.
It's a big deal. It's not something to look over.
A Utah man also had to be put into a coma because of a vaping-related lung disease. The CDC is investigating but has not linked any particular device or chemical to these cases. The next Democratic debate is 3 weeks away, hosted by ABC News in partnership with Univision.
So 10 candidates have qualified so far under more stringent party rules. That includes former Vice President Joe Biden and Senators Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and Kamala Harris. If more than 10 candidates meet those new thresholds for polling and fundraising, then the DNC will add a second debate night.
The debate is slated for September 12th and 13th at Texas Southern University in Houston. There will be 1 minute and 15 seconds for direct responses to questions, 45 seconds for rebuttals. And new this morning, Washington Governor Jay Inslee has ended his presidential bid. He's the third Democrat so far to have dropped out of the still very crowded field. And an 11-year-old cancer patient is doing his part to help other young people fight the disease.
His name is Ryan Collins. He's battled brain cancer for a year, and while receiving radiation treatments, he ran a lemonade stand to raise money for pediatric cancer research. Yesterday, he donated $4,300 to Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago, as he has found out he's cancer-free.
Ring the bell 3 times well. It's totally clearly to say, my treatment's done, this course is run, and I'm on my way. I don't really know how to explain how it feels. Just it feels amazing.
Well, Ryan says he plans to keep his Ryan's Hope lemonade stand going online. He said the key to facing the disease is stay strong and keep believing in yourself.
Good message
Great
there.
kid.
Well, coming up, fires in the Amazon rainforest burning at a record pace.
Well, the fires have increased this year, and what that could mean for the environment after this. Welcome back. We turn now to that deadly parking lot shooting caught on camera in Florida. The man who opened fire, Michael Draka, is now on trial.
The case has put the spotlight on Florida's controversial Stand Your Ground law. At the center of the case, this surveillance video showing Michael Draka shooting Marquise McLaughlin. Draka is seen approaching McLaughlin's girlfriend, berating her for parking in a handicap spot. That's when McLaughlin returns, shoving Draka to the ground. He steps back as Draka reaches for his gun, takes aim, and opens fire. The father of three stumbles back into the store where he would later die. Draka was silent in court Wednesday as both sides laid out their arguments.
Mr. McLaughlin backs up as far as he can go, all the way to the car. He can't go back any further and watch that video. He starts to turn away from the confrontation, and he's shot at that time.
Mr. Draka reasonably believed that force was necessary.
Draka is claiming self-defense. He was originally not charged in the case because of the state's controversial Stand Your Ground law, which gives Floridians the right to protect themselves if they consider their lives to be in imminent jeopardy. The same law was used to defend George Zimmerman in the 2012 killing of Trayvon Martin. But the state's attorney later decided to bring manslaughter charges, arguing Draka had 11 seconds to make that decision to pull the trigger. Draka's history is also coming into play. One witness for the prosecution says Draka threatened him 5 months earlier for parking in the same handicap spot.
He said, I should shoot you, kill you.
Never saw a gun.
Never saw a gun.
The trial is expected to wrap up by the end of the week, but this is one of those cases that will probably be debated long after a verdict is rendered.
Now to South America, where right now fires are burning in the Amazon rainforest at a record pace. Brazil's Space Research Center, which monitors fires, reports an increase of about 80% from last year. So we want to go across the pond to Marcus Moore in our London bureau for more. Marcus, good morning.
Marcus, what are you doing out there in London?
What am I doing? What is the Texas boy doing in London? I have no idea.
That's a wrong turn.
Hey, I'm a long way from Dallas, but you know, I still feel like I'm at home. This is great people here, and no, we've been talking a lot about this, these fires in Brazil, and I know you guys have seen the pictures. They are absolutely incredible, and we now know, according to this space agency, that we are seeing an 80% increase in the number of fires compared to last year. And so when you put that in the actual numbers, that's 73,000 fires, almost 73,000 fires burning in the Amazon forest right now. And those fires are so intense that drivers in Sao Paulo had to use their headlights to drive around in the middle of the day. And listen to this, guys. Sao Paulo is 1,700 miles away from where all of these fires are burning. So it is a huge deal, and certainly a lot of people have been talking about this. And the National Institute for Space Research actually relied on satellite data to determine the number of fires that are burning right now, which during this time of year, they happen, but not at this rate. Now, critics have accused the Brazilian president, Jair Bolsonaro, of paving the way for this by promoting deforestation instead of conservation. So we're talking about logging and farming. And people are saying that he is the reason why we're seeing this increased number of fires in the Amazon wild forest. Meantime, the president, he has replied to this, questioning the data. Saying that they just don't add up. And also, without evidence, he has said that, you know, his critics have been setting these fires to make him look bad. Again, no evidence to support that claim, but the main concern right now is the fact that these fires are burning in the Amazon forest, a place that produces 20% of the world's oxygen, and that these fires could be accelerating climate change.
Yeah, Marcus, those are really startling and concerning images there.
Absolutely.
Back there in England, where you are, Duchess Meghan Markle paid a surprise visit to a charity in a rare Instagram video.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we're always on Royal Watch, and Meghan Markle was in London promoting a charity clothing line, and she posted up this video on Instagram, very happy and just seeming to have a great time there at the SmartWorks charity. And this is a group that helps disadvantaged women attain skills and also clothing to find the best jobs they can, and, you know, live feeling empowered. And that's what she's participating in. But people here over across the pond have been kind of raising questions about her appearance. Of course, it's always a spectacle when the royals show up somewhere, but they're wondering about the timing of this because, guys, The royal couple, they have been getting a lot of criticism recently. They've been called hypocrites because, as you know, there have been major champions of reducing the carbon footprint and trying to get people to do their part to help reduce climate change, or at least the speed of it. Well, over the past few weeks, they've been criticized for taking 4 private jet flights in the span of 11 days, including a trip to Ibiza and also Nice, France, where they spent time with Elton John at one of his private locations there. And people are saying that this visit to the charity is perhaps an effort to potentially save face and get past the criticism that they have endured over these past few weeks for, again, being called hypocrites. Because usually, you don't see, from what I understand, you don't see a lot of the royals in the month of August. And so not only was this visit a surprise in the fact that the royals were there at that charity event, but the fact that she would be there in the month of August. Has people saying, what's going on here?
So,
but
Marcus,
nonetheless,
when you first said her appearance, I thought you were talking about her shoes, which I thought looked great, and I was like, oh, maybe I could get some of those. Marcus, you know, I was really hoping that you would give us these updates with an English accent. So, show us what you got.
Bust
show us what you got.
Come
on, just a little something.
Listen, well, so, you know, I hung out with the one and only James Longman.
You
and
did,
you talked about the accent. Yeah, well, you know, I'm from College Station, Texas. Born and raised in Texas. And yeah, you can hear the accent, right? Well, I said where I'm from, and he's like, wait, where? I said College Station. He's like, he said college. College Station is how you pronounce it.
They call it university.
There he is!
Hey.
Hi, James!
College Station.
This whole time. So yeah, they'll get used to the Southern boy accent at some point.
Oh my gosh, you guys are having too much fun over there.
For you.
Okay.
Can a brother get some tap water? That's all.
Yeah.
Wait,
everything is sparkling.
Oh,
fancy. Tap water. You know, you go to a
fancy.
restaurant. Yeah, it's very fancy and proper here, and I'm like, hey, I just want some tap water. You know, with my fish and chips.
I was going to say, Marcus, I know in Dallas they love iced tea. I would imagine that they're going to reject that also.
yes, or Kool-Aid. Now, hey, now that's what we drink in Texas right there.
Oh my gosh, Marcus, good luck over there across the pond.
All right, hey, thank you guys. Good to see you.
Thanks for joining us. All right, let's get a check of our notifications, starting with an optical illusion that started a debate on social media. You know how these things go. You guys, look, what is this? Is it a bunny?
Could be.
Is it a bird?
Maybe.
Trevor?
It's one of those.
Dissect it for us.
I don't want to dissect it. That's clearly a living animal.
Okay, fine, fine.
Yeah.
I thought it was a bunny at first.
Yeah, so did I. But it's a crow, a raven?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Something that probably caws and flies.
Optical illusion. It'll keep you entertained. All right, next up, a feat right out of The Lord of the Rings. Watch this slow motion video. So this is a man attempting to cut that speeding arrow in half, and because it's slow motion, we will wait on bated breath as it inches ever so closely till he swings, and he does it.
Oh, there it is.
He pulled it off.
Slice.
Imagine if we pulled the slow motion video and he whiffed.
Yeah,
that would be
yeah,
great.
No kidding.
Kudos to the slow-mo guys.
From those skills to these skills, a 3-year-old who is a beast on the basketball court. There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And with the amazing celebration hands.
Yes, that really makes the video.
And the amazing hair.
Kid's got a stroke from deep.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right, we also have some passengers on a delayed flight passing the time. You know, some people maybe like to read, catch a nap. These people got a Bolivian band in the aisleways treating
lucky
themselves.
For them.
So I believe this is a Spirit Airline flight.
That's why there were so many empty seats?
Oh. Yeah, they've got entertainment at least.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, well, check out a failure to launch in Florida. So these guys on here, the promises to launch them at 100 miles an hour. This is in Panama City, that slingshot ride. It never leaves the ground because that cable snaps. This fail happened at an adventure park over the weekend. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. The ride was shut down, of course, and those passengers were given refunds.
My goodness. Well, coming up, the touching surprise for a high school band superfan.
Those very special band members taking the lead in paying homage to one man's kindness, his spirit, and his love of his community. That's coming up after this.
here's what to watch out for today. President Trump will award the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the nation's highest civilian honor, to former NBA player and coach Bob Cousy, who won 6 league championships and the 1957 MVP title. And nearly 7,000 people from 133 countries will become American citizens in a naturalization ceremony. You can watch that live right here on ABC News Live at noon Eastern.
Well, Serena Williams, Coco Gauff, and the rest of the field will find out who and when they're playing as the U.S. Open Championships draw is announced. And the British Royal Air Force will join fighter jets from the U.S. military for a flight down the Hudson River and over the Statue of Liberty ahead of the New York International Air Show this weekend.
Plus, don't forget to tune in to The Debrief for an update on all our top stories and The Briefing Room for a breakdown of the latest headlines in politics.
Well, the spirit of being all in this together was brought to life at the home of a very special high school band, SUPERFAN, outside of Pittsburgh.
And for that SUPERFAN, it truly was the performance of a lifetime. In these last remaining days of summer, high school bands are braving the heat, practicing their routines for football season. But in Greensburg, Pennsylvania, the Hempfield area Spartan Marching Band just put on a very special performance.
1, 2, 2, 2!
Marching through town and straight into the front yard of their most devoted SUPERFAN.
Terry has been a fixture in our community for decades. Children in our band and their parents all grew up knowing Terry. I knew it would mean the world to everyone and to Terry to be able to come and play for him today.
Terry Ranieri, who graduated from Hempfield back in 1975, is fighting an aggressive form of cancer.
Terry has very little things to be positive about right now, but he always seems to smile. He'll give you a thumbs up. He's the most positive individual that you could possibly imagine.
For the past 45 years, Terry lived for those Friday night lights, and his favorite part, the music. And thanks to the band's special surprise performance just for him, he got to hear it again.
He's just a really great supporter of us, and I don't know, it's really cool. Seeing him at football games all the time, he was always there to cheer us on and was one of the biggest Spartan super fans I've ever met in my entire life.
But Terry was in for one more surprise.
It's my pleasure to announce that we are making you an honorary member of our Wall of Fame, forever serving as an example for future graduates to be the best that they can be.
Terry Ranieri securing his spot in the heart of Spartan country and in the heart of his fans forever.
Thank you. I love you all.
And a big thanks to our Pittsburgh station, WTAE-TV, Pittsburgh Action News, for helping us with that very special report.
Pittsburgh's one and only. That was great. Love that guy.
That was a good one. That's it from us today. Tomorrow's Friday.
It is.
Woo.
We're right there.
Yeah.
We're basically done with our Thursday. Get done with yours.
Yeah.
Have a great day.
See ya.